Britney Spears was arrested in California for a DUI. Police say that they pulled her over after her car was allegedly swerving and she was driving without a taillight.
Let's start with what went down on that highway in California. According to law enforcement sources, Britney was driving a black BMW in Ventura County on Wednesday night when somebody called in a car driving erratically at a high rate of speed on the 101.
From all parts, 2202, eastbound 118 East to Yosemite, black sedan, erratic braking, swerving, and driving with no taillight.
CHP officers tracked the car, followed it off the freeway at Westlake Boulevard in Thousand Oaks, and that's when they realized it's Britney Spears behind the wheel.
According to law enforcement sources, she was stopped by the California Highway Patrol and held suspected of driving under the influence.
3 just past Moore Park in the number 2 lane.
Reports say officers felt she showed signs of impairment and put her through a series of field sobriety tests right there. After that, she was arrested on suspicion of driving under the influence of a combination of drugs and alcohol and taken into custody.
It's okay. I would like for them to leave me alone.
Now, here's where it gets even messier. Instead of just heading straight to the jail, officers transported Britney to a hospital to draw blood and officially test what was in her system. She wasn't injured, she was alone, and this was strictly to get those blood, alcohol, and possible drug levels documented according to the reports. The timeline is ugly. She was cuffed around 9:30 p.m., booked a little after 3 a.m., and then released from jail around 6 a.m. the next morning. That's a long night for a 44-year-old global pop star who's been fighting for her freedom for years. On top of that, dispatch audio that's now circulating allegedly describes Britney's car swerving between lanes before the stop, adding to the picture that this wasn't just a random traffic pullover. Now, let's get into the part that has social media going insane, the alleged cocktail of substances.
She said in this court hearing, quote, "I feel ganged up on, I feel bullied, and I feel left out and alone, and I'm tired of feeling alone." She said that she's being exploited and that she can't sleep, is depressed, and cries every day.
Page 6 and related coverage are already pushing the idea that Britney was believed to be on a mix of alcohol and drugs when she was pulled over. Officially, CHP is saying a combination of drugs and alcohol and an unknown substance was allegedly found in the car. But those chemical tests are still pending. So right now, this is less confirmed lab results and more, this is what officers think they're dealing with. One report even jokes about several lines of Splenda being spotted on a counter in connection to talk around Britney's partying, suggesting she might have mistaken sweetener for something stronger, which gives you a sense of how wild and mocking some of this coverage is already. The narrative isn't just Britney had a drink, it's Britney on a cocktail, Britney spiraling, Britney out of control. The same script she's been fighting for years. But then there's Britney's side. Sources close to her and follow-up reporting say she's telling people she blew a .06. That's under the .08 legal limit in California. Now, if that's true, then the case is going to lean heavily on the blood test and the drug component, not just alcohol. This all hits hard when you remember that in her 2023 book, The Woman in Me, Britney claimed she never did hard drugs and didn't have a drinking problem, even though she admitted to partying and self-medicating in other ways. So to now be back in the headlines with DUI, drugs, and cocktail in the same sentence, it cuts right into the image she tried to reclaim. Now, to understand why this arrest is such a bombshell, you have to look at Britney's history with substance abuse allegations and the courts. See, back in 2007, during that infamous custody battle with Kevin Federline, a judge actually found that there was habitual, frequent, and continuous use of controlled substances and alcohol by Britney. That finding is part of what helped take her kids out of her home and started the narrative that she was an unfit and unstable mother.
I would just say that you have babies at home and you have a wife, and if you don't, you have to realize that we're people and that we just need privacy and we need our respect, and those are things that you have to have as a human.
By February 2008, a judge imposed a conservatorship over Britney, putting her father, Jamie Spears, and an attorney in control of her finances, her career, and key parts of her personal life.
You're not going to have sex before your marriage. Is that a standard that is hard to live up to?
No, not at all. I mean, I'm 18 and I have so much of my life to go look forward to, and it's just, I really haven't found that right person. I just want to make sure the person that I'm with, that I do that with, is the right one, because my mom always told me, once you do that, there's so many more emotions involved, and I just don't want to go there right now. I'm so busy focused on my career and focused on me,
That conservatorship lasted 13 years, an unusually long time for someone who kept touring, dropped albums, did Vegas residencies, and even judged on The X Factor. Over the years, Britney described that era as abusive. In court testimony and reporting, she said she was medicated against her will, including being put on lithium, forced into mental facilities, and even prevented from removing an IUD so she could have another child. She told the court she felt like she was being trafficked for her talent, while other people made millions off of her name. Fans launched the hashtag Free Britney movement, which helped push the system to finally end the conservatorship in 2021. And Britney has been very vocal about wanting her life back and being tired of being controlled. But here's the tragic part. Now, every misstep, every bad night, every traffic stop becomes proof to her critics that she needed that conservatorship all along. This DUI arrest, with talk of drugs and alcohol and cocktails, hands the ammunition right back to the same people who once argued she was a danger to herself. So, what happens now?
Spears. She bald.
But some seem more concerned about getting her take on Britney Spears' new do, asking her if she'd ever consider, to go bald.
The pop star shaved her own head.
The pop star shaving her own head.
She did not shave her head. Are you for real?
Right now, Britney has been arrested and released, but the investigation is still very much active. CHP is waiting on those blood and chemical test results to see exactly what was in her system, and that will determine how strong this DUI case is. Depending on what those tests show, prosecutors could push forward with the full DUI involving drugs and alcohol, or her legal team could try to argue the results down, especially if that .06 number of alcohol is accurate and the drug component ends up weak or ambiguous. And don't forget, this comes right after she reportedly scored a legal victory with a permanent restraining order against a man who randomly showed up at her home after disturbing social media posts. One minute, she's finally locking down some safety around her private life. The next minute, she's right back in a jail cell for the type of accusation that nearly destroyed her 2 decades ago. Entertainment Weekly notes that even after the conservatorship ended, Britney has stayed in the headlines for family drama, Kevin Federline's claims, and her own social media posts that people either worry about or defend as her being finally free. This latest arrest will fuel both sides, that she needs help and structure crowd, and the leave that woman alone, she's traumatized crowd. Here's what we can expect: a likely court appearance where we'll hear more details, possible dash cam or body cam footage leaking if it exists, more statements either from her team, her exes, or her family trying to spin this in their favor. So let's talk about it. On one hand, you have a 44-year-old woman who has been dissected, controlled, and humiliated by the industry for most of her life, now getting dragged all over the internet again for another round of crazy Britney headlines. On the other hand, you have real concerns about public safety, substances, and a pattern that courts have used against her before. So is Britney just a traumatized icon trying to self-medicate her way through the damage? Or is there a point where Free Britney and Protect Britney start to clash? We'll see how this plays out. Make sure you like this video, comment, and subscribe.